Hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've had a good week and I hope you're doing well. This week I'm going to do a deep dive into Amy Winehouse's Back to Black. I'm sure most of you know the song. If you haven't, we're going to listen to it section by section and go from there. So I'm just going to kind of go into whatever I feel stands out to me within the song and what I think makes it effective, as well as a little bit of theory for those who are interested. I do want to preface that these type of things, while I do go in depth about them, it's always a matter of my opinion and everyone is welcome to their own opinion. So take this with a grain of salt, and you know, if there's something you disagree on with me, that is certainly okay. And there's always room for discussion. And at the end of the day, this is art and art is subjective. So something I may not like or disagree with, you may love. And that is totally fine. And that's the beauty of art. Let's just get straight into it. We are going to do the first verse and the pre-chorus. Okay, so that was the first verse and the pre-chorus technically, but the form of the song is very interesting because it feels just like a very, very long verse, and the pre-chorus is the same melody as the verse. So you really could say it's just a long verse that goes into the chorus, which is it's very interesting in how it's not typical to a normal song form. But this song obviously is more sad, it's more solemn, it's supposed to feel lonely. The chords of the song are D minor, G minor, B flat major, and then to A or A7 if you're doing seventh chords. And it's in the key of D minor. D minor is 1, that is the original key, D minor. G minor is the 4 of the scale. B flat major is 6. And then A7 is the 5, which technically, it's a borrowed chord because A7 typically exists in the key of D major, not D minor. However, it is used quite a bit for the minor key or the major key because the 5 of 7 is a very good leading chord into the 1, regardless of whether it's the minor key or the major key. Typically, the A7 is in D major, but it works for D minor as well and is commonly used, just like it is here. It's a great transition. For the mood of the song, it's really, at least for me, it's really set by that icy piano and the tone of the piano specifically. They chose a specific octave in the piano where it's pretty high up on the piano, and it's very icy, it's very sharp and almost abrasive of a piano, if that makes sense. Whereas if it were maybe a softer song or, you know, a different mix, it's not like a soft felt piano, you know, it's not really warm. It's very, very cold. And I think that was a great choice as far as choosing and mixing that type of tone, because it adds to that lonely, solemn, abrasive feeling. The drums, it's a pretty simple groove throughout. It doesn't really change a ton. The guitar also, doesn't come in really until the second half of the verse, and it works very well in this context because the backing vocals come in towards the second half of this verse, and then the guitar does a few little runs here and there, and it's just to add a little bit more layering, to add a little bit more excitement, if you will. So not every single verse when it goes around sounds the same. In that sense, it is a bit of a build-up to the chorus. And it's very interesting because usually you'd use a pre-chorus that really sets you up and you're like, yes, this is about to be the chorus. But I actually really like this just build up from the verse straight into the chorus, because it kind of works because the song is so dark and sad, and it really is to the point of what Amy Winehouse is trying to get across. And I like that it doesn't have a pre-chorus. Not every song has to have a distinctive pre-chorus, and this is about to go into the chorus. And even without the pre-chorus, you can really tell when the chorus is going to come in. There's a guitar run right before the chorus. So if you're writing for your own music, this is a great example of using these sorts of runs right at the end of phrases or sections to get you into the next one. So keep that as a note if you're struggling to find a way to transition into the next section of the song you're writing. We have Amy's very recognizable voice, recognizable tone. Her enunciation is very interesting. I love how rich and how deep her voice is. That's what she's known and loved for. And it contrasts almost with the very high, icy piano. I wouldn't say her tone is necessarily warm, but it certainly has more body than the piano. It's also much lower than the piano as far as pitch, so it fits very well into the mix, and I think fills out the space where it really needs to shine in the song. So the piano has its own sonic space, and then Amy has her own sonic space below that. So I think these two together create a great, great, great composition. Let's get into the chorus.
We only said goodbye with words. I died 100 times. You go back to her, and I go back to us. I love you much. It's not enough. You love me.
Alright, so that was the first chorus as well as the second verse after it. So let's do the chorus first. Now, this is another common technique that is used in songwriting where the physical pitches of what the vocalist is singing tends to get higher for choruses. Now, this is not a 100% rule, obviously, but it is very common because it's easier to hear and it grabs your attention more easily when the notes are higher. So Amy sings higher. She's doing a little bit more belting. The verses are a little more solemn, a little more just back in her chest and her mixed voice. But she belts a little bit more here, but she still has that great, rich, round tone. And there's more backing vocals. There's guitar throughout instead of just sparse runs. The guitar is playing throughout. And what really meshes the whole song together for me still is the piano. The piano's not playing anything hard, They're just playing really sparse, really staccato quarter notes. And that's all they're doing. right? And it's really keeping the vibe of the song in general very icy, very lonely. The piano really connects you to that, and the guitar runs are very low in the register of the guitar. It doesn't really go that high, which also adds to that solemnity of the song. The runs aren't crazy, they're not technical, they're pretty slow, they're stepwise motion, right? So yeah, that also adds to the sadness of the song. And then it goes straight into the second verse. And like I was saying last time with the energy levels, this second verse is a little bit higher in energy than the first verse. There's more backing vocals this time, right, throughout. And the backing vocals are following what Amy's singing. They're singing the same words and following the same notes instead of having just separate sparse little parts like in the first verse. So there's just more movement throughout all of the instruments in the second verse. However, the piano still stays the same throughout, which I love. It's really at least for me, it's really the glue for the whole song and the whole energy of this song. Amy changes up the melody a little bit in the second half of the second verse, which is a nice change. So not all the melodies sound exactly the same, which I think was a good choice. Let's get into the next chorus and the bridge, I believe.
We only said goodbye with words. I died 100 times. You go back to her and I go back to her. We only said goodbye with words. I died 100 times. You go back to her and I go back to her.
Okay, so that was the second chorus and that bridge. And that second chorus, I love that they added strings. It makes it strings, at least for me, I love the sound of strings because it feels very expressive, especially when they're playing more legato. And I think it adds a really beautiful element to this song. But it doesn't, I don't know how to explain it. The strings don't make it overly beautiful because that wouldn't quite match the song, but it does add a beautiful element to this song, and I think it's a great addition to the second chorus. Then we get into the bridge, so if you want to know, the chords for the bridge are D minor, B flat major, F major, and then A7, and then it keeps looping that. So I will put up the chord notation for that as well. I don't really feel it necessary to explain that part. It's still in the same key and all. Again, it matches very well with the mood of this song, and it's a very thoughtful breakdown into like explaining what Amy meant with the words. It's word painting because she says she's going back to black. You can imagine it going into the void almost, right? And this section is very slow. There's not a lot of movement. Every instrument is really just playing on the one of every bar, and it's very slow and almost sluggish. And it's like, again, it's almost like she's disappearing. You can almost picture it. So I think the word painting in this section is wonderful. And the fact that she's really only saying black, again, adds to that feeling of going into the void almost, right? And then that ramp up into the last chorus it makes it very easy to tell when she's going to go back to the chorus, because she starts saying, I go back to, right? So she keeps singing that a couple times, and then it goes in back, it ramps up back into the last chorus. Yeah, I mean, I love this section. This breakdown section is really important to the song, I think. And I don't think the song would be the same or hit the same if it wasn't there. I think it adds well to the feeling of loneliness, sadness. Without that breakdown section, I think the song wouldn't be as good personally and wouldn't be the same. So I'm not gonna go into the last chorus as much because it is very, very similar to the previous chorus. Yeah, so I didn't go too much into depth on the notes or the theory of this one, or really too much on the specific parts of the song, just because, you know, none of these parts are super hard or difficult to play. But like I said, for example, the piano in the song, doing those quarter notes adds so much to the song, and the way these parts come together, I think, is more important than really talking about each individual part. So I really just wanted to focus on the overall energy of the song and how each part fits really well with the other. So yeah, it was just a quick little breakdown of why I thought the song worked. Let me know your thoughts about what I had to say and the song itself, and like and subscribe if you haven't. And I hope you have a good one. I will see you next week.